protections and consequences, accountability and compensation. They aren't mentioned in the same breath as most of society's absolutes, but just try living without them. Every day, mistakes are made. Some are unavoidable. Some are all too avoidable. But when the result is loss of people or property, something has to be done. Subrogation. In most places, the word isn't used much, but it's important business.
The financial impact of subrogation is really important. In the auto realm, between 15 and 25% of the amount of dollars paid out by carriers is recovered back, which can be between $5 and $7 billion. But there's more to that. It's subrogation beyond the dollars is the effect it has on society, the effect it has on our insureds, the effect it has on our companies, and also the effect that it has on society as a whole.
And when the victim is an individual, the importance of subrogation isn't hard to understand at all.
Bayonne, New Jersey is a working class community. It's various ethnic divisions, but it's a working class community. David Soprano is a nice guy, just a regular, hard-working gentleman, an auto mechanic, very likable person. He got hired, or was told there was a truck that had broken down. So he went there and he figured the best way to start it, because nothing was happening, is let me try and prime the engine, which involves pouring gasoline into the carburetor. And what he didn't know is that the truck driver had actually poured a significant amount of gasoline in there before and didn't tell him. So the truck driver starts the engine and it backflashes. And David, who's got a beard, his beard went on fire. And the truck driver, because he wanted to get the engine going, he actually starts it again, which causes a fireball which blows David off the truck onto the street, and the flames covered from his neck down his chest over his arms, in addition to the burns that he had, which were horrific. The swallowing of the smoke ruined his lungs. David had gone to a lawyer, and the lawyer had said, "I can't help you." Then the insurance company sent out an investigator, and the investigator came back with a report and said, "There's really no cause of action that we can see."
They took a rather hardline position. Despite the testimony, they heard it at the time of the deposition, they heard it at the time of motion, they heard it at the time of trial, and despite repeatedly hearing this awful testimony, they took the position this was not worth their policy.
We are basically in the business of holding people responsible for their actions. And when somebody or a company causes harm to someone else, I think everyone would agree that they should ultimately be responsible for the damage they've caused.
The total medical bill that was submitted was nearly $300,000. David has no health insurance at all. So his financial future was very bleak. The jury found that the defendant had in fact poured gasoline into the carburetor before David Soprano had gotten there, and had poured a lot, and that was in fact the cause of the accident. We're still going through the appeals process, but the primary insurer has offered their full policy, which is $500,000.
Subrogation is the pursuit of the truth. And the truth is, sometimes things aren't done the way they're supposed to be done.
Our system shows when persons are ultimately held accountable. Either companies won't produce a product that will ultimately fail, or once the defect or the negligence of that company is discovered, will immediately alter, change, or rectify it, obviously making society a much safer place.
This case involved Raccoon Valley Investments, and they are a Des Moines, Iowa company who owns a strip mall. It's a garden variety strip mall. And what had happened was that a particular tenant had a neon sign in April of 2001 a fire ravaged the strip mall where the neon sign is located. And it spread through all 9 suites, making the building a total loss. A few months before the loss, the neon sign repair person came out in response to a fire, a small fire on the neon sign, was able to troubleshoot the sign but not able to determine what the root cause of the fire was. He described the effect of the problem and repaired the damage as a result of the fire, but never addressed the root cause.
The contractor, who I believe is a lighting contractor, just really didn't understand what he was into and was trying to make some repairs and just didn't understand the phenomenon of the neon and the high voltage and how dangerous it can be, and hence the fire was started from there.
When there is a problem, when something does not work the way it's supposed to, it is important that we figure out why it happened, because it's only from the knowledge that we gain from these investigations that we can prevent other similar incidents from occurring.
Most of the people who do this work, there is actually no college or school that you can go to learn how to install neon signs. As materials and products change, people have to learn how to install them and what their limitations are.
During the course of the investigation, it became very clear that the neon sign that he had repaired was the cause of the fire. And it also became very clear that the equipment that he had touched just a few months before the fire was the critical area that the investigators were looking at. We were able to get him to admit and volunteer to us that as a result of our forensic investigation, he went out to different customers within the Des Moines community and actually told them to de-energize their sign until they made these repairs because it wasn't safe.